Hey, welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host, Isaiah. It's been a while working on some things. Hopefully I have a video showing you guys an update on certain things. But for right now, we are going to work on that 500 horsepower project today. And we're finally going to install the clutch and install the block into the car. So let's dive in and see what is needed. Okay, so first things first, we went ahead and put the belt on. You loosen that guy there and you bring it in towards the engine. Allows you to put the belt on, and then you pull it out. Probably use a pry bar. Pull it out, tighten that bolt, good to go. Tighten the bottom bolt also, of course, you gotta loosen that. This one's a little different, not original, but there's a bolt at the bottom and at the top. You're gonna loosen both to get your adjustments and then tighten both to finalize your adjustments. Then on this side, it's a little different. Okay, you have three, two in the face, one in the back, and they're all 12 millimeters, including that one. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna line up these holes so you can get a socket in here. Pry this piece back. It has a nice little tapered area for you to put a pry bar in there and pull this away from the engine. And once that's done, you tighten up the 12, tighten up the 12, and then the belt is nice and tight. So now that that part is complete, now we are finally gonna put on the flywheel. And then this is the clutch we're gonna go with. If you're doing a build similar, that is the part number there. It is the pressure plate. I know it looks used, but this was actually balanced with the engine. So you can see the drill holes here to make sure it is perfectly rotating with the engine properly, and the flywheel. So this engine is balanced from the front all the way to the rear. You can see the balancing mark right here. So yep, it is balanced from the front all the way to the back. So this engine should spin nicely and yeah, hold that power with the proper pressure plate, of course. So we're gonna pop that on there, and then this is the clutch underneath. And then we have the bearing here. This hasn't been opened. See, fresh coil unit. All right, so we should be good to go. Okay, so we're gonna put the pilot bearing in there, and then the clutch will be ready to install. You wanna get a socket that is the same size as the outer diameter, so it doesn't damage the inner diameter. Tap it in there nice and gently, and once that's done, you are clear to install the flywheel. Okay, and each one of these has medium strength Loctite on it, and these are torqued down to specification. You need someone to hold the front, torque these in the back, boom, you're good to go. Okay, so since the flywheel is done, we're gonna need the alignment tool. We're gonna need the clutch. Okay, and we're gonna need the pressure plate. Now, this side faces the flywheel, this side faces the pressure plate. How can you tell? One side is flat, other side sticks out. Flat, flywheel, front, sticks out. Okay, make sure you don't get that mixed up. A lot of people do, and bad things happen. So to avoid that, don't get it mixed up. Pressure plate. This one is balanced to 0 technically, so you can put it in 3 possible positions, but usually it's marked so you know where to line it up along with the alignment marks. So that's not a factory mark. You line this up to the flywheel. This is if you get it balanced. The pressure plate does not come balanced when you purchase it. Kind of put that out there. But since this one's balanced from the front all the way to the rear, this one has been to the machine shop to be balanced, so that's different. So we're gonna line these up, put the clutch in there, with the alignment tool holding everything together like so, and then we're gonna put on the bolts all the way around, and this part of it will be complete, and we can now install this engine without having any complications. The main stuff is done, we're good to go. Okay, so here's a 0, and right under here, let me get some light on the subject. Is the 0. Right next to that 0, you line the 2 zeros together. That is how you know it's balanced. Okay. So, take this out of the equation, and these are 12 millimeters. You want to make sure you tighten these by hand in a crisscross pattern. Okay, so crisscross pattern, we're gonna go from here over to that side, this side, down, there, star. So this thing is ready to pop right in. Got the alignment tool ready to rock and roll. We're good to go. Okay, way easier to take apart when you are using 2 hands. But basically these are the locking pins, and as you see, it hooks in like that. When it's hooking in, it's actually hooking into the throwout bearing. This part slides right into the hole on the top. So you'll be able to easily spread it, pull it out on each side, and you're gonna see that when we put it back together. But there's so much black grease on this fork, we're gonna clean this off first before we reassemble. So this is no good, and we're gonna put on the new one after we clean. Okay, we put some multi-purpose grease on the front because this goes into the pilot bearing. On the back, that's what the throwout bearing sits on, and the pinion for ease of rotation. Next, okay, we put some on the mating surface there. We are going to take our bearing and put this on here. Now, let me tell you one thing. I don't care if the bearing is new, old, whatever. If you wet this with water, it's gonna seize up, okay? This is not supposed to be wet with water at all. I'm talking about 0%. If you do, this will seize up, okay? Then you're gonna have to buy another one. If you could find this one, I think this is running for $50 or $60, but you're gonna have to get another one. Preferably the Koyo unit, but I think Koyo may have gone out of business. I'm not too sure. But yeah, do not wet this at all. So, okay. So we're gonna put this on here. So as you can see, it has holes at the top. That is going to lay like this, right in between. Then we're gonna take this and spread it open. Actually, you can hook it first and then slide this in. It'll end up looking like this when you're done. So let me do one and then you'll see how that goes. Okay, and it's just that simple. So the hook goes in here, and then the slightly curved part goes into here, and that's it. So you're gonna repeat on this side. Hook goes into here, and you pull it apart, that goes into that hole, and you're gonna lift it. Or you could do it vice versa. That's how I did the other side. You put it in here first, and then pull this up and push it in. So let me two-hand this thing, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so now we have to slide this guy in. All right, just like that. And then pull and slide around, and done. Okay, so it has hooks in the back. You can pull it out, slide it around, done. For obvious reasons, it's not gonna do that while in use, so you don't have to worry about that, but that is complete. Lubed up, ready to go. Now, we're gonna make room for the block, which we're gonna install. So we're gonna wanna move all of these things out of the way. We're also gonna pull the radiator because we don't need that in the way also. This is alternator accessories here. So we're gonna leave that over in this spot. Make sure you connect your ground to your block. We got the fuel feed line. We're gonna move that out the way. It's covered, so no dirt or anything gets in there. And then we have the engine harness over here. Okay, move that out the way. Fuel feed, not gonna be needed. We have a new feed, so we're gonna put that up here. We're gonna leave this here though, just in case the owner wants to resort back to stock, he would have that option. Okay, let me see. Throttle cable. We want to move this aside also. Okay. Push this up. Make sure that doesn't fall. Okay. And we're looking pretty decent. All right. Let me move this stuff a little bit better. There we go. And then as far as return, I think we should be good. All right, we got the bolts for the motor mounts. Not sure what this cable is. That one's aftermarket. This one, same deal. Okay. Long story short, move everything out of the way. Okay. And then we will get the engine hoist out and start putting it in. All right, time to strap it up. And we're gonna slide this bad boy in there. The good part about putting the short block in there is because you don't have to remove the hood. Okay, which is not a big deal either way, but I'm able to get it in there and bolt it up. Keep things simple. I'm able to reach all the way around the block, which is way better than trying to stick your hand in places where you're too big to fit. So, yeah, let's get this sucker in there. All right, we are connected to the transmission. I did use a longer bolt just to kind of bring it in a little closer on the bottom. Top bolts are in. So there's 4 bolts total for the transmission. Then there is 2 bolts for the starter, and that's all she wrote. So yeah, we're gonna torque these down and we should be good to go. And then we can put in the motor mount bolts. So I'll move this a little bit, jack it up a little bit, give me a little bit more playroom so I can put the motor mount bolts in, and it's 4 of those, 2 per side. And yeah, she is in there. Okay, so we are all plumbed into the transmission. Motor mounts are on and tight. So the main meat and potatoes is complete, which is basically making sure the transmission's bolted up properly and the motor mounts are in the proper position. So from here on out, it's more so accessories. But before we start plumbing away at accessories like starter, slave cylinder, plugging in the alternator, plugging in the power steering and all of that good stuff, we're going to put in the radiator first to make sure she's in place and where she needs to be. So let's slide that bad boy in and keep moving forward. After that, we're going to slide in the starter. Okay, radiator is mounted and plugged in. 1, 2, 3. We're good to go there. Now let's move on to the starter. Okay, alternator's plumbed in, starter's plumbed in, including power and signal. The black wire with the yellow stripe is the one that turns it on and off. That's actually a white stripe, it just gets dirty. All right, only thing that needs to be plumbed in on this side is the slave cylinder, which we will get to. Then we can move over to this side for oil cooling and power steering. Stay tuned, there's definitely a lot more to come. And with that being said, we're gonna call it an episode right there. Definitely a lot more to come. And if you like what you see, and definitely consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon for updated notifications. But remember guys, knowledge is power, and I will see you next time.